nationality status. So a lot of people really don't understand what that means. But let me speak specifically about the terms white and black. Most people believe, because we're visual people, that white, by definition or legal definition, means the color of your skin. And black means that some color of your skin. Doesn't mean that at all. White is a political status or a legal status, and black is a legal status to put people in certain majority and minority categories. So white, by definition of the government, U.S. Census Bureau, the Office of a Management Budget, something like that. I'll do a video later on just showing you websites, but white means anybody from Europe, North Africa, and Middle East. So we know that people from Middle East and North Africa do not have pale skin for the most part, right? So, but they get to check off white. And black is anyone from the racial groups of Africa. That's how they define it, how they play with words. So if you're checking off black, that's what they are going to consider you. Now, you hear this all the time, that black is a minority and white is a majority. Okay? So, if you look up Black's Law Dictionary, minority means someone who is not of legal age to handle their affairs. Majority is someone who is of legal age to handle their affairs. So, if you're ever wondering why blacks get treated like shit in this country, that's why. Because they consider you an infant in law. You don't have any rights. Someone has to manage them for you. And if you're picking that designation white, guess who gets to manage it for you? I mean, black. If you're picking black, guess who gets to manage your affairs for you? The government. That's why black people, by definition, who call themselves that, are treated the way they are in this country. It's the lowest status in this country to be picking. I'll tell you, you're not black. You're none of these things that they created. Remember, God didn't create you that way. They did. They created some names on the paper, and you picked them based on popular opinion, based on the crappy educational system. You pick these titles not knowing what they mean. Anything you're putting on an application or government application, you need to know what every word means in those applications by what they define it to be. I've run into people who want to create their own definitions. No, you need to know what that word means by the way the government means it, how they're defining it, and then you choose whether you want to use that word, identify with it. All right? So there you have it. Black is a minority status. It's not about the population of the world, because if you look in any country that you travel to, most of the countries are dark-skinned people all over the world. Dark-skinned people all over the world. Use your eyes, not what someone has programmed you to believe. See, most of us are looking through the lens of perception, not of actual what's out there. All right, there you go. Peace, prosperity, extreme health to everyone. Y'all have a good one. So you got to go on a route that I just spoke on, get that lean. Like, I'm in a situation like that. Everything you're saying, I've been through, right? I got a Nissan Titan 2012 I bought. Then I started learning this information, and guys told me I could discharge it. I tried, man, listen, it ain't nothing you could bring me that I didn't either try or even looked into. And I can tell you if it works or it don't work. That discharge crap don't work. So when people come bringing that to you, discharge this, don't
lose your property following that. Trust me, y'all gonna run into that. Right? So I did all that, did the discharge, wrote these money orders up, got brought into court, questioned, almost got this, but I was smart enough to be able to answer the questions appropriately. So finally the bank brought me into court. This is how I know you can shut lawyers down in the courts. I've been there. I'm not telling you something I read on a piece of paper. I did it. So the lawyer comes in, they did what you call a claim 420 to get the vehicle back. But I said, I don't have a vehicle. It was here in Georgia. This is in South Carolina. I don't have a vehicle. The vehicle is not in my possession. Said, you know where it is? I said, it's not in my possession. They kept trying to get me to say, give them where it was. So when I got my turn to speak, I said, first of all, I want everything this lawyer says stricken for the record because he's a stranger to me. He's an attorney representing the bank, and the bank's not here. And the judge said, you're absolutely right. And I screwed up by saying more than I should have. I should have shut up right then and there. And I started saying, well, I don't know. I don't have a vehicle in my possession. So they skipped that part and moved on. That's why I should have stayed right there. The whole case would have been dismissed and I'd have been done with it right then and there. But long story short, they got a judgment to get the car from me. So they sent the sheriff to a house I wasn't living at. But they know where I was, so they called me. And I got on the phone with the sheriff. I said, look, will you read the order? The order said it ain't in my possession. She said, you know what, it's right. You ain't got a vehicle. Why are they sending me to get this from you when it says you don't have it? The order specifically said they can get it, but the vehicle is not in my possession. So wherever they find it, they can get it. But it wasn't even in their jurisdiction. It was in Georgia. So those cases only have jurisdiction for South Carolina. So they couldn't get the vehicle. Long story short, they did what happened to whoever said they got that 1099. They did that to me. I get no bill. Said I owe somebody. Why? Because I had stuff in place where I hit the IRS saying, explain these deals to me that I owe this. Plus, I'm not doing contracts with them. See, you probably did a tax return that same year you opened up a contract for them to even do that. There's no open contract for me to be involved in that. So they can't say I owe or whatever because I didn't do a tax return and not put that on it. See, when you did your tax return, to them, it looked like you left out the 1099. Now they're adding it in and saying you owe it. That's basically, they redid your tax return for you. See, I don't have a contract where they could say, okay, you left this out. See, those things are just statements of which they making claims. So what happens is when I do a tax return, someone enters a statement 1099A. Now I'm doing a tax return, I left it out. There's no balancing. So they're going to balance it out for me unless I dispute it. See, if you disputed that would have never been added into your tax return. You didn't dispute it. So then they go and say, well, you owe us some money. Boom, boom, boom. They said they mail it, and they love mailing to wrong addresses. They do. So that's why you got IRS letters are just like third-party debt collectors. Answer them within 30 days. If you don't, it becomes real. Okay? So with the car, they did the 1099A. Oh, okay, great. Now I don't owe it. And then they sent me a statement that I owe them no more money. Now my only problem is I don't have the title to the truck. I don't care. But guess what? I just keep dealer plates on it. I don't care. Dealer plates on it. I don't even insure it because then insure means I have to register it. Then that might bring up that order, all of that stuff. But once I get the title, I won't have to worry about that no more. Because what I'll do is take the title and sell it to my trust. Now it's under the trust and no one can touch it. New title, no one can touch that trust. They still can't touch it now because that order, that was like almost 3 years ago now. It's done. So with that car, just unless you want to sell it, that's the only time you're going to worry about needing the title. Really. Is it operational? Okay. Now, then don't worry about it. You're just trying to worry about the credit part. Okay. All right, yeah. They coming at you. Are they coming forward like a third-party debt collector? Yeah, just send them a letter, man. Shut them down. Hey, I don't owe you nothing. He's still a third-party debt collector. Right. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If they're coming in as a different name. So if it's a Bank of America legal department, that's a different name. Right. He's still a lawyer. He still don't have first-hand knowledge. They use the lawyer title for intimidation. That's all. They don't mean nothing. They still the same as any other third-party debt collector. Now, if they try to sue you, which they might, they're gonna bring a lawyer to the room. He still gotta follow rules of evidence. First-hand knowledge. Only person with first-hand knowledge can speak in that courtroom as a witness. Right. Who you was sitting there witness you signed the contract. Right. Don't argue about whether you owe or not. The point you want to make is who's accusing me? Is it the real party who witnessed me sign it? They might even send a document certified saying that you owe this, but it still got to be from somebody that first-hand knowledge. It's not your signature. How's it your signature? Because all they're going to do is show you a photocopy. That's not your signature. It's like, no, that's not my signature. It's a copy of what purports to be my signature. This your wording, how you address it. You know, hey, it seems like it's it looks like a copy of what looks like my signature, but no, that's not my actual red ink signature. Right? And most times they can't even bring them original contract. But even if they brought the original contract, who's going to testify that you did that? You know you have a right not to incriminate yourself, right? You can remain silent on that question. I can either confirm or deny. All right, passport. Anything else before I move on to this? All right. All that stuff I said about nationality comes down to this. How you fill this out. You'll run into people that talk about you need to correct your nationality. You need to correct your nationality. And they have all this long, drawn-out paperwork for you. And I'm here to tell you this is all you need to do. All. And this here tells you I can skip everything and go straight to the oath because that's where the answer is. In the oath. Right here on the application. And the whole key is not to look like a U.S. citizen, right? And this is the part, they don't read this first part to you. They'll start right here. Number 2, the statements made on this application are true and correct. I have not knowingly, whoever went for a passport before. This is the part they read to you. They don't read the first part. They read all of the part about your photograph is you and all that stuff is correct, right? This thing been going on. Nobody important. Good. All right. Let's read the actual oath from the beginning. It says, I declare under penalty of perjury all of the following. I am a citizen or non-citizen national of the United States and have not, since acquiring U.S. citizenship or nationality, performed any of the acts listed under acts and conditions on page 4 of this instructions of this application. Are you familiar with that? Anybody familiar with that statement? So can somebody interpret that? It's all legalese, and I don't expect y'all to get it 100% right. Can you kind of give me the gist of what that just said. No, no, no. It's saying I declare under penalty of perjury all of the following. What you saying? You're making a declaration to the facts here, saying that all of this is true and correct. And if not, you can charge me with a crime, right? Everything on this application is true. That's what this is. I declare under. But what I want you to focus on is number one. It says, I am a citizen of the United or non-citizen national of the United States and have not, since acquiring U.S. citizenship or nationality, performed any of the acts listed under acts and conditions on page 4 of this instructions of this application, unless explanatory statements is attached. I'm going to give somebody another shot, then I'll break it down. Right? But start at the beginning. Don't skip the beginning part. You went to the end. Right. You're making a declaration that you're what? You going there. That you one of these. Right? As you get rid of something, something comes to fill its space. Some of your lives are probably so cluttered with things that you're not making good use of. If you get rid of it, the thing that you need to move you to the next level could come in. And that means anything. You might be stuck in relationships that is not going anywhere. You don't have any plan to do anything other than what you're already doing. Are you okay with that? I'm not here to tell you how to break up relationships. I'm just saying it's time to take an inventory on everything, not just material things, spiritual things. What's in your mind that need to be gotten rid of? What kind of thinking, what kind of words you're using in order for the abundance to show up? Do you have a lack mentality? I realized on the trip that as much as I talk about lack mentality, it was still some things that was giving me lack mentality to a degree. You know, sometimes you think you know it and you really don't. You really don't see it unless someone points it out. And you got to be wise enough to hear it and not be offended when that person points it out to you. Yo, what's up? Man, it's Sunday, May the 4th. So, 5 days into this year, according to the Gregorian calendar. And first, I want to give thanks to Wisdom, Sophia, the almighty God that they left out of the Bible. They didn't really leave her out. They covered her up with different definitions of titles. And then I'm gonna tell you who left her out. The people that taught you the Bible. Your ministers, your preachers, your pastors. And that mainly because they didn't know what the hell they were talking about either. Because they went to the theocratic schools that taught this nonsense. So that reminds me, I met a guy when I was in between doing my shows and still doing satellite. I went in to buy some supplies from a cable company in Columbia, South Carolina. And I met a guy in there who went to theology school. And he said he had to quit because they actually teach them the truth there. And he said he couldn't preach this message. He know that was false. So if anybody went to these theocratic schools, theology schools, they're being taught the truth, but they're being also taught what to teach you to keep you under control. Because like I've said this many times, if you read the Bible thoroughly for yourself, and I suggest everyone do it, take their time. You don't have to read it all in one, setting. Read it consistently. You will see the lies and manipulation, and you'll get the truth out of it. There is truth there.
So I didn't bother to check to make sure my mic was working. It looks like it is. Um, Peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to the people that's listening. So that's why now I dedicate my openings to the mother of wisdom, the God of wisdom, Sophia, because you got to give respect to that. Look how we've been worshiping or giving credit or acknowledging just one side of it, and that's the masculine side. And look at where we are right now. Look at everything. Look at it. We're in one big mess. So, and we're trying to unravel it. So that's part of unraveling. And there's some people, even though I taught about talk about Sophia and stuff like that, there's people that reject it still. They still want to hold on to their Christian way of learning, the way they were taught Christianity. And I'm not going to go into and start poking holes into all of that stuff right now. And that's okay. That means that they still not ready to hear what the truth is. And like, I'm not here to force anybody to believe what I believe or accept it, but don't come here trying to change my perception and try to fight me and argue with me about. I'm not arguing about none of this shit with nobody. Why? Why? I don't have to. I know I've spent hours of reading different things and cross-referencing, and I'm like, I was there in that religious mindset, religious judgmental mindset. And then I woke up. I said, wait a minute, what the hell am I doing here? This is not my true design. But before I get into who's supporting you, because that's the title of the show, I want to read something that I was just, sometimes while I'm listening to the beginning of the show, I'll read stuff. And it's out of this book. Let's see if I can see that. The Gospel of the Holy 12. And I'll start here. It says, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord and are made perfect in his image. For they attain to the center of all things, which is God. So they say they attain Godship. Death holds sway till we tread upon the vesture of shame and rise above desire. By the good law are all things made perfect in the earth, the physical world, the water, the emotional or astral, the fire, the mental, and the air, the spiritual. So they broke down all parts of reality or existence. The physical world, which is the earth is the physical world, the water is the emotional and astral, the fire, the mental, and the air, the spiritual. See, now this is Gnostic teachings. These are the Christians that they wanted to eradicate off the planet so that they can bring in the new world order. See, people talk about this world order. We're waiting on the world order. They're going to do one word. They did it already. They did it. They've already done it. We're waiting on something to come that's already came. They eradicated all of the true teachings and created new teachings and left out a lot of information. So, number one, as Jesus sat by the west of the temple with his disciples, behold, there passed by some carrying to burial one that was dead. And a certain one said unto him, Master, if a man die, shall he live again? And he answered and said, I am the resurrection and the life. I am the good, the beautiful, the true.
If a man believe in me, he shall not die, but live eternally. And as in Adam all die, even so in the Christ shall all be made alive. Blessed are the dead who die in me. It says, blessed are the dead who die in me. In. That's a very interesting way they put it. Meaning you need to die as a Christ, in the mind of Christ. Meaning you need to die the physical, the body dies in Christ. You know, nothing in this realm stays here. I mean, nothing in this realm lasts forever. Like everything physical goes back to from where it came. Right? Where was I? Blessed are the dead who die in me and are made perfect in my image and likeness, for they rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. They have overcome evil and are made pillars in the temple of my God. He said, in the temple of my God, not of my God. And they go out no more, for they rest in the eternal. For them that have done evil, there is no rest, but they go out and in and suffer correction for ages till they be made perfect. What is he talking about here? Reincarnation. So they go out, they go back in. That's what he's talking about. Let me prove it. But them that have done good and attain unto perfection, there is endless rest, and they go into life everlasting. They rest in the eternal. Over them, the repeated, listen carefully, over them, the repeated death and birth have no power. For them, the will of the eternal revolves no more. For they have attained unto the center where is eternal rest, and the center of all things is God. So let me break this down. So they're saying those who have done evil, and I'm not defining what is evil, will be die and be reborn to get it right, to get set matters straight. So when it's put that way, two things have happened here. You really realize what this existence is all about. This being here. See, the religious leaders taught you about a hell that you can go to if later on. And it was taught that way deliberately because where you are right now is hell. Let me break it. I'm gonna read it again. For them that have done evil, there's no rest, but they go out and in and suffer correction. Isn't that what we're doing now? We're working on it. We have some karmic debts to pay. We have some things to get straightened out. And we're working on it right now. We're trying to perfect and attain what? Christ consciousness. See, they wanted to make you believe hell was somewhere where you burn and then you just suffer, and you never can get out of there. But really, hell is just the state of this 3D existence of realizing where your true power is, where your godship is. It's a way out, but you have to understand your godship. You have to not allow things to tempt you into or tempt you out of balance. Right? And one of it said, over them, the repeated death and birth have no power. For them, the will of the eternity revolves no more, but they have attained unto the center where is eternal rest, and the center of all things is God. So where do we go back to? The center of all things. God, the feminine aspect of God. And one of the disciples asked him, how shall a man enter into the kingdom? And he answered and said, if ye make not the below as the above, and the left as the right, and the behind as the before, entering into the center and passing into the spirit, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of God. And he also said, believe ye not that any man is holy without error, for even among the prophets and those who have been initiated into the Christhood, the word of error has been found. But love will cover a multitude of errors. Look with it also, who have been initiated into the Christhood. You have to be initiated. You are being initiated. In all initiations, you go through trials. This is why Christ said, you will suffer as I will suffer. You have to go through things and realize where your problems exist. And where do they exist? In your mind. When I look at something that is presenting themselves in a way that I don't like, and then I defined it as a problem, I just, in my mind, contracted that that's a problem. And now from that will birth all of the problems that come with that. I just wanted to share that. When I bought this book, I think I bought this in 2015. And I can't even remember how I came across this book. But something drew me to buy the book. It drew me to buy it. And I didn't realize I had the answers. A lot of these in here. I've read from this book from time to time, but this book is taking on a whole new meaning. And then at one point, I don't think you can get this actual cover anymore. They got reprints of it. And they have raised the price almost $300 to $600 to get this book. I don't know if it's like that anymore, the reprints that they have come up with. But see, when you're taught about Christ's mindset, from this perspective, you can see your way out. But if you teach it from the way they've taught it, where you got to go to these guys got to tell you, and it's always the pastor, I'm the one who's leading you kind of nonsense, which always leads to problems. I've never been in a church or any religious affiliation where it was some type of drama coming out of that type of teaching. But I wanted to just share that with you. And I suggest, I'm trying to keep it all smoked up in here. That you do your research yourself. So let's switch topics to who's supporting you. Who's supporting you? Because a lot of us, I'm guilty of it. We hang around, we spend time with people who don't really truly support us. We support them. We try to help them. But you'll notice certain people contact you because they want something from you, not because they want to give you something or assist you with something. Most people come with their hand out. Physically, mentally, spiritually, they have their hand out. I got a problem. Can you fix it? And that's all they have to offer. Now, I'm a proponent for helping people. Yeah, you help people. That's part of my debt. I know one of my debts that I'm paying off is selfishness. That's one of my debts. I know that. I know it because it was a problem I had early on in my life. So I consciously work on that, not being selfish. The thing that goes with that, I'm kind of taking a side road here, when you are working on selfishness, you're going to run into a lot of selfish people. That's going to challenge your work that you're doing on selfishness. So think about the things you're going through, the things you're working on, and you see that in other people. They're only presenting you to you what you're working on. Like you see it clearly. You ever heard the saying, takes one to know one, right? You can see it. But see, the issue is most people will not own that. Like they'll be good at pointing out problems in everybody around them, but when it comes to them, they won't do it. And when you are working on these things, this is where you know who's supporting you or not. When you are working for it, you'll meet people that will try to put you down and try to minimize your work that you're doing for yourself. Those people you leave them right where they at. You leave them right there. Don't mess with those, because those are really evil people who try to take the hard work that you putting in and try to minimize it for their own gain or benefit. Evil. Now, who's supporting you? The number one person that need to be supporting you is you. You need to be the number one supporter of yourself. Meaning, spiritually, physically, financially, you need to be the number one supporter. Now, do you need people to help you in these things? Yes. But you want to invite the right people in, because there's some people who come as supporters, but they're not real supporters. They're there to steer you back into the matrix. They might even be people that's giving you money. And, here, I'll do this for you. But in exchange, well, you might want to reconsider what you're doing right there and do this. See, support comes in all forms, whether it's good support or bad support. You have to be mindful of what it is. Because if you're not, next thing you know, it's like this. If you're hanging out with people, like just say you want to create a business, you don't want to work for anybody, you don't want to clock in and out, you don't want your time owned by some corporation, but yet you have a person who's cool and they're supportive of, in a way, but they're always bringing up things like, you might want to consider doing this and doing that. Stuff that is taking you off your path. That's not supportive. Because a true person who is helping you is not going to sit there and try to make you see or make you do something else that you're doing, unless it's harming you. But I do realize people, when they give their opinions, they think what you're doing is harming you and what they're doing is right. And they don't even see that's how they're seeing it. But this level of awareness comes with the foresight, the insight, the outsight to see these things for what they really are. Because if you're not an advocate for your mission, the world will make a mission for you. And they will try to minimize everything you're doing. That's why you have to be careful of who's supporting you, who you're taking support from. Think about it. The government gives support out all the time by way of welfare, food stamps, and all these other things. But is it good support? Because it comes with a lot of strings attached. Number one, any support you take from the government, that straw man has to be seen as a ward, someone that they control. And if you paid attention to the video that I created and put up there about minors and my majorities and all of this stuff, and the titles that they have lined up for you to be associated with. And if I have time today, I'll pull up that government page and point something out. I feel like I have to point that out because it's got to do with nationality. You're never going to survive, or you're never going to make anything out of yourself or make your goals work if you have the wrong people in your corner. I learned that over the last 8 or 9 months. There were people in my life that needed to go. And when I exercised them away, things changed. Because as much as I wanted to be successful and make things happen, it seemed like every time I got to a point, I was going one step forward and 10 steps back. I'm like, I'm doing these things right. No, no, no. I was doing those things right. But what happened was there were still individuals, and I'm speaking individual, live walking individuals, and I don't give a damn that they hear whatever, that was holding me back. Under the guise is friendship and partnership. Let me tell y'all something. The true devils, the true evil in your life, they don't come with a pitchfork or a knife in their hand in front of you. They come with smiles. They come with pretty words. They come with the feeling of camaraderie. Y'all know, right? Most of the stuff that's not good for you tastes sweet, right? In foods, right? The most of the things that taste really good to you are no good for your body. They come under the guise of sweetness, sugar, savoriness. That's how they come. The stuff that's really good for you tastes like crap, horrible, but it's really good for the body. And that's another, that's part of our mission, to master our senses, right? Our taste buds, to put things into our body, our temple, because this is a temple. Your mom helped you. She created a temple inside of her and birthed it. Like you were born inside of the temple of your mom's womb. Well, your mom's whole body was a womb, was a temple, is a temple, right? And the womb is just one of the sacred room. That scripture, go into that secret place, then there I will be. The womb. You were created there. And then and which you drew on from your mother was all of the best nutrients to get you here. Because if you didn't get all of the best nutrients from your mother, you would not have been healthy enough to survive this environment. So you really leached and took away a lot of the good nutrients that your mom needed, and you took it for yourself, almost on a parasitical level. But where was I? Because I done went on. Sophia took me to another level. But anyway, extricating, exercising people and things that come under the guise of friendship and camaraderie and what you think is good, but when you really look at it, how is it serving your true calling? How is it serving that? Because you have a mission to uphold so that you don't keep coming back here recycling in. You have a mission, and then when you get off that mission, and evil ain't like hurting people only. It's evil is not just taking a call to get yourself right from a spiritual level. just not doing anything there, allowing yourself to be sidetracked by all kind of other external things, allowing yourself to be just distracted by what the world tells you is right and wrong. Let's see who's out here in this all. Somebody said, "What passage am I reading?" I'm reading out of the Gospel of the Holy 12. It's got Roman numerals, and I don't know what LXV 111, whatever the number that is, page 115 of that book. Oh, whoever that is. I don't. Let me see if I can see the name. Naima, Naima. That's. I'm sorry if I misspelled your name or mispronounced it. That's what we're here to do. We're here to set so that we don't have to keep recycling in. Gain Christ's higher consciousness. And what that means is if you study Christ's walk, he was tempted on all levels, but he still did not react. He allowed them to say, do whatever, and he just, okay. There was times he addressed evil, like the lawyers and the so-called preachers of that time, when they came at him with, unholy requests, say they wanted to stone the woman for adultery. And he was like, well, if you don't have any sin, whoever has no sin, cast the first stone. And that shut them all up. They ran. They were doing that to test him by presenting this woman's transgressions to him, ready to put her on display. And I always found it interesting. Where was the guy in this? She didn't do all this by herself, right? Where was the people she was committing these so-called crimes with? Religious crimes. And I believe that was a story that they told to demonize the feminine aspect, to take credit away from the power of the feminine aspect of God. Because if you notice in all of the most of the scriptures, they refer to a lot of the women as harlots. They did have some good examples of women in there, but a lot was about harlots, and it was all on the physical level. Why? And then they deified and prophesied and made men prophets and all throughout the Bible, which was always a problem for me because we come out of the womb of a woman, so anything I get, if I'm prophetic, that means my mother would have to be right. No, they just got that. Just God just put them out. Okay, I'm gonna give you the gift of prophecy, and just leave her over here. That's how you know everything's about balance. Showing the power of the whole. Here's another thing. When you get to like God, there is no male and female. It's just God. And we all break offs or aspects of God from a different spectrum. You have the masculine, you have the feminine. But one thing, and I'm taking another side road, and I'm going to show you this image. Maybe I'll do it Tuesday. Whenever they showed Christ with Mary, she was sitting in a chair, a throne, sitting on a throne with a crown and a scepter, the baby Jesus on her right leg, on her right knee. And she's holding him with two hands, like as if she's presenting him to the world. So that questions the whole Virgin Mary story, right? He has a crown, she has a crown, and she has a scepter like she's anointing him. So who really is the God? I'm gonna show you the pictures, and they all over. Like actually, here's the book. Some Russian images. Let me see. This is a book I got at Sedona, and it had the Russian images of Christ in here. Some of the ones that they exposed, the Russians exposed, and this is why all of a sudden Russia is demonized because they expose stuff that they didn't want you to know. Let's see. Of course, they got their European nonsense in here. Let me tell y'all something. Anything coming out of the European mindset is filled with lies. That's a lying group of people. Okay? Because all their whole mindset is about, okay, I found one image. I'm gonna show you that. But I'm trying to find the I should have left a bookmark on it. The image that they had of the Virgin Mary, her sitting on a throne, and the main image that I want to show you. And I noticed that much as a European wants to tell, they try to tell the truth, they cannot leave themselves out of the story when they were not even part of any of that. They weren't part of that in the beginning. They injected themselves into the stories later on when they started to discover Bible or be taught the Bible. They didn't want to be left out, so they injected themselves into these stories. But that's why I'm very, when I hear them starting to teach stuff, like watch, just wait for it, wait for it. They'll inject themselves either by way of an image or something they say. They didn't create any of this. Your ancestors, people of color, created every one of the schools of thought of religion in the whole world. Okay? That's well documented, well established. I got this image. Where is this image? Was it in this book or was it somewhere else? Um, I guess not. No, I think it is. I just can't find it. But I'm gonna show you something. Y'all can see it. See, that's the, if you can see that, I can't see my screen and see what y'all see. See that image of Mary up there? She's dark skinned, and then you have the lower people under there worshiping her. She's on the throne. Where's God at? Yeah. They're actually telling you that's the true God in this image. Sitting on a throne. And in this image, you'll notice to the right and left of her is a pillar. And for some reason they got a goat there. I know what the reasons that goat is there. Um, but I'm gonna try to find. Oh, it's always when you're really looking for something, you can't find it. Looking for this beside. There's plenty of images here, but look for the one when she's sitting on a throne with this Jesus on her lap. the specific image. Oh, this might be the one. There it is. This is close enough. They showed the image in the first. Here it is, right here. This is the one I want. Share this. This is not quite it, but you notice she's got a crown on. The chair is not there, but the one I'll find this image. The images of this where she's holding a scepter, and they try to say, "Oh, that's the Saint Mary." They switch it around. They're showing this Mary as God. Look at where she's standing. See, the interpretations of Jesus is what we believe in, not in what we're actually seeing. That's the trick bag. They tell you what you're supposed to see. And you're looking at that, don't really describe what you're saying, though, bruh. All right, before I go, let me shout out to people here. Maxell says peace. DJOJ says peace, almighty blessings. And Javier says peace, love, prosperity, love you, bro. Hey, I'll call you. I know you called me before the show. I'll call you right after. And she said I pronounced it right. Thank you. Very good message. Appreciate you. Listen, we've been taught a whole bunch of lies, especially from that Christian point of view. All right. They revamped the religion to support white supremacy. So if you believe in Christianity as it is taught today, you are in fact, participating in your own oppression when it comes to that. Learn what it was truly about. And these books like this, Gnostic teachings, are where it all started. And these come from your ancestors. Because the Christianity as it taught today, there's no reincarnation. When they believed it way back when. It's only resurrection. You die, God is gonna resurrect you out of that grave, or you're gonna go to heaven and stuff like that. Anyway, that's it for me today. It's 11 o'clock, almost 11. I'll see y'all on Tuesday. Peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to everybody. Talk to you next time. As you get rid of something, something comes to fill its space. Some of your lives are probably so cluttered with things that you're not making good use of. If you get rid of it, the thing that you need to move you to the next level could come in. And that means anything. You might be stuck in relationships that is not going anywhere. You don't have any plan to do anything other than what you're already doing. Are you okay with that? I'm not here to tell you how to break up relationships. I'm just saying it's time to take an inventory on everything, not just material things, spiritual things. What's in your mind that need to be gotten rid of? What kind of thinking, what kind of words you're using in order for the abundance to show up? Do you have a lack mentality? I realized on the trip that as much as I talk about lack mentality, it was still some things that was giving me lack mentality to a degree. Sometimes you think you know it and you really don't. You really don't see it unless someone points it out. And you got to be wise enough to hear it and not be offended when that person points it out to you.